Oh, we are live. Miss Dorothy, we live. Okay. You looking now? Yes.
Wow. Okay.
That quick, right? We are
Yes,
live.
but I must make sure. You know how we do that double
Echo.
voice? Yeah.
It's not happening today. Oh, thank you, Vicky.
Happening.
Of course,
And
Vicky.
it's certainly me.
here's the thing. Do we see us though? Who's got Facebook open?
Okay, let me jump in and see.
Oh,
Oh,
we're up.
we're up.
We're
We're on
up.
Facebook.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's the thing. That's what I wanted to make sure. Were we up and where we and are we running? So we're running. We're running. Somebody has to catch up with us because we're running. Okay. So, hey, thank you for dropping in, taking out from your lunch to come and share some time with us. And as always, we want to thank you so very much. We welcome to Porch Talk Live, fabulous Camille Rob.
Hello, hello, hello.
And we welcome Annette Moore, the love goddess. And Stacy's not here today. So guess what? You got me, and myself and I today. And we welcome our special guest, Vickie Griffin, to the show. So as always, we want to start out with a few announcements. So we've got some things coming up in July. July the 30th is our Porch Talk Friends and Family event. And at that event this year, we will be talking about the simple pleasures of self care. So I know that we get so busy taking care of everybody else that we never take the time out to do things for ourselves. But we're going to have to learn how, and we're going to do that in July. If you don't get it before then, how to love on ourselves with nothing but plenty of self care. So I'm excited about that. I've got a new program that'll be starting at the end of the year. And of course, in October, we have our special retreat event. So from July until October, you won't see us in any more online events, but we'll always be here on Friday, 12 noon on Porch Talk Live. So we're going to get started today. I've got a few things I want to share with you about Vickie, and then we're going to let Vickie kind of walk us through what she does and how what she does, how it's going to go about helping us. Okay, I know. I'm excited because there's a whole lot of questions that I have for her on what she's going to be talking to you about. So, Vickie, going from a ho hum, unhappy, fat existence as a teenager, Vickie Griffin is now 70 pounds lighter and kept the pounds off without dieting. She will teach you how to crush cravings, manage anxiety, stop sabotaging, and keep calm through all of the chaos. She is an author of Stuck Up, author of Breakthrough Path to Unstuck, and you can be right about everything and still have nothing. Ooh, that's one. And she is also a professional speaker and licensed minister. Vickie Griffin is known for her infectious enthusiasm and deceptively low-key casual approach. She's doing speaking engagements. She's traveling throughout the country. She's offering keynote coaching and workshops. Welcome to Porch Talk Live, Vickie.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yay.
Grateful for the invitation.
Yes, I am so glad that we've been trying to do this, I know, for the longest, back and forth, probably all year long. So I'm so glad that we finally got a chance to get together, and I can actually hear, people online, and you kind of interact, but you really don't get into what they do and how they can go about helping you. So when I started looking at, after we made the date for you to come on, and I started looking at your site, and I started looking at the bio that I had and everything. I was really, really excited, because my one thing that I said, one thing I desire, whatever pounds that I put on during the COVID time, I wanted to lose, but I did not want to do it with a diet. And I read that you did it and you're keeping it off, and there's no diet involved. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here, I want to give you all a little peace of mind. Something extraordinary happened to all of us the last 18 months that has not happened in over 100 years. And the whole pandemic, the whole experience that we went through threatened us on a deeper level than we've ever experienced. It touched all four of our human basic needs. And it was so sly, we didn't even realize it was happening. So what's happened, because it touched all four of those human basic needs, which is finances, people lost their jobs or had to take a cut for pay. Health, so that was your home and your food. Health was obviously threatened, and education was threatened. We didn't know what our kids were going to do. Colleges are shut down, and one of our human basic needs is to continue to learn. And so when those were all touched and threatened at the same time, the little amygdala gland in the back of your brain that is the whole fight and flight went bizarre. It was just like, this is too overwhelming. I can't run because we were home place, right? We had to stay in place. We were shut in, and we couldn't fight because we didn't know what we were fighting.
Yeah.
So the brain and the mind and the body just went crazy. And what are some of the two things that people turn to when they're trying to cope? Food and alcohol.
Yes.
And I actually just read yesterday that for the first time ever, women are drinking more alcohol than men.
Wow.
Right now. Yeah.
Wow.
So what's that result? What's the result of that? Between 15 and 30 pounds, the average is actually 30 pounds is gained. So I hope that gives you a little sense of you're okay. There's nothing wrong with you, because this has happened to almost the entire population. There's only a handful that I talk to that have actually turned it around for themselves and took more walks and ate better. But for the majority of us, it was pounds added because we're trying to deal with something we hadn't dealt with in a long time. So coping is a blessing, even when it comes in chocolate chip cookies and brownies.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow.
So let me share you a little bit about how I let go of the weight and without dieting. Is that something you want to hear?
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Awesome. We were sharing this earlier. I am a certified hypnotist. I've been involved with hypnosis since I was 16. I found it very fascinating. And why didn't we learn this in school, that we had control of our mind? And because of that, we could create outcomes for ourselves that we want, rather than just participating in the life that we thought we had to participate in. So that comes from examples, right? My father was a factory line worker. My mom was whatever odd job she could get. And growing up, until I was introduced to hypnosis, I just assumed that's who I would be. You know, I'd get a job and it would pay me week to week, and I would be okay and probably have a house and maybe a family in the small town. And that would be nothing wrong with small towns. I love them, but that would be my life until I discovered hypnosis. And as I was becoming more aware that I had control, I also wondered, well, how is this going to help me with my weight? Because I've been overweight my entire life. I was born fat, literally. I was a fat, chubby little baby, chubby toddler. Then when you start to get to be about 5-ish, it's not so cute to be fat anymore. And that's when I started noticing, but I didn't really start recognizing until I was 10 that I was fat. However, I formed many opinions that whatever went on that was wrong in my parents' life or in my life was because I was fat, not because they weren't getting along with each other, not because it was, the teacher's problem, it was me. And so dealt with dieting my whole life, really, literally. I've eaten cottage cheese and ketchup the whole lemonade cleanse, you remember that going out just recently?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gosh, what I mean, I've been on all of the big name box programs. I lost tons and tons of weight, but never kept it off. And that's what hurt me the most, not only physically, but just emotionally. What's wrong with me that I can't do this? And I got so frustrated in my adult life, getting on the scale every morning and seeing it either stay the same or creep up, or I'd lose a couple of pounds and go, yay, it's donut day. It's like, woohoo.
Oh, God.
Where I got on the scale and it's gone up, I'm like, okay, donuts. So that was always my answer. And I got tired of the judgment and the criticism and the shame and the guilt that I kept having over and over again. I'm like, this has got to change. But something inside of me said the diet's not the answer to my weight loss. And I determined right then I was not going to diet in the terms that we're used to, which means food, right? Usually it's withdraw from food. I decided I wasn't going to diet. I ate fast food every single day. I was going to continue to do that. What was different is I changed my portion sizes, and hypnosis helped me do that. Until one day I walked into Wendy's, and I'll never forget this day. I walked into Wendy's intending to order my junior cheeseburger deluxe and my small fry and my Diet Coke. And when the cashier asked me, what is it that I wanted? And I actually ordered the grilled chicken salad, literally looking around behind me, thinking someone else just ordered. I couldn't believe that came out of my mouth. And as she was ringing it up and I was getting my wallet out, I'm looking at the sign with a picture of the grilled chicken salad. And for the first time ever, I actually wanted it. I wasn't buying it because I had to, or I should, or it was on the diet. And I really, really enjoyed my salad for the first time ever. I'm like, well, something really interesting is going on here. I also decided to go on a mental diet, which is a whole lot different than a physical diet. That was no more criticism, no more judgment, no more blame, no more shame. Anytime I saw those thoughts start creeping up, I just said no. And it was tedious for a long time. I hadn't realized how much I was bullying myself and how badly. So for the first 3 days, it was constant. And then finally it was a little longer and a little longer in between the judgment and criticism until now it's fairly infrequent, but it was a training I had to do in my mind. So those were the first two things. Is I started working with my mind through self-hypnosis. I started working with the mental piece of it. And then soon after, I found an amazing technique for cravings. As most people will tell you, the reason they get in trouble is they have a craving, a food craving.
Now, someone on my last event in May, one of the speakers said the same thing when we were talking about self-care. And one of the things she said is if someone could ever find something for cravings, that would be great. She said, I will eat dinner and 10 minutes later, I want something. I got a craving. So this is good.
Absolutely. And I found it. And I'm not saying I found the magic pill. I found a way to help with cravings. It helps me and it helps my clients to diminish the craving. What's fascinating about it is all the other techniques I've learned, I could avoid it, I could distract myself from it, but I wouldn't stop thinking about it. And because I wouldn't stop thinking about it, the craving kept coming up. And I was procrastinating at my desk, because usually a craving, it's emotional. It's an emotional response. We either don't want to do something, or we need to do something, or we are avoiding something. And I was at my desk making cold calls. And I don't know about you all, but cold calls are not much fun. Some people love them. I'm not one of them. And I kept thinking about a cookie in my food pantry. And it was basically calling my name. Have you ever had that happen? Food called your name?
Oh, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Yep. Chocolate is one of my favorites too. Anything with chocolate, chocolate chip cookies. I don't like mint chocolate chip very well, but I'll eat it because the chocolate's in there.
Mine would say, psst, psst,
Mhm.
fabulous. Come over here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly what I was saying. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I kept thinking I was insane. You know, it kept saying, Vickie, come here. Hey, we have a great time together.
Let's
We've
go.
had an intimate affair. I'll make you feel really good. Right?
Wow. Wow.
And so I did this crazy, absolutely insane technique that I had had for quite a while. This is how long ago this was. It was on a cassette. And I said, all right, chocolate chip cookie, hold on. I'm going to pull this cassette out. I was also director at that point at a hypnosis clinic for weight loss. I thought it was weight loss techniques. I got it from the Hypnosis Guild. And I listened to this cassette and I did this technique. And 30 minutes later, I was out for a walk and literally stopped in my tracks, because in the past, I would have had a walk scheduled. I would have made myself go out and do it. I would have pushed myself to go out and do it. But I was out there on this walk. None of that had happened. And then I thought about that cookie, and what was amazing to me was that I didn't have the desire for it. In the past, the thought would have created the desire and the craving was gone. So that's when I became as advanced in this technique as I possibly could at the time. And I've been using it for over 20 years, not only daily for myself, but for my clients.
Awesome. Awesome. So here's I need you to share at least one thing. What can we actually do? One thing that we can do to get us started on this path. As you've already said, a lot of it's just a mindset. I know that my sweet tooth kicks in right after dinner. It's never during the day, never during the afternoon, but when I get through with dinner, I'm like, if it's not in the house, I'm good. Okay. But if, I can't stop, my husband loves ice cream, and, my son loves those butter cookies, and oh my God. So I'm like, okay, Dorothy, don't go there. Don't go near the refrigerator. Don't even go in the kitchen. Just get some water, stay in the bedroom, close the door.
So you sequester yourself to one room of the house just to stay away from the cookies and the ice cream.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. But see, and here's the thing. It's not all the time.
Mhm.
When it hits, it's like it's there for a few days, and I gotta have it. But then when it goes away, I don't want any part of it. I don't want any sweets at all. So I know it's a mindset,
It is. And let me share with you what I did. So as I told you, the first step for me was to stop dieting. So that meant I could eat anything that I wanted at any time. Now I ate less of it. So the thing that I did was incorporate all of those foods that I kept denying myself having every single day. 2 of those foods are peanut butter and potato chips, not together. Okay, but not dipping my potato chips in the peanut butter. Those are the 2 foods that, besides chocolate, that I would eat every day. Hey, I come from the background of being or having in the past been a binge eater. And so those type of experiences are true for a lot of people. They eat really odd combinations of food very, very quickly. So for some reason, that wasn't one of them for me. So I incorporated those 2 foods in my eating plan every single day. And I watched the portions of them. And I watched what the emotion was that was coming up while I was thinking about eating it, and after I was eating it. Also, if you were listening, I mentioned that I was sitting at my desk procrastinating because I had to make phone calls. And so any type of craving is emotional. It is coming from something you don't want to do or you're protecting yourself from. So I had to start looking at, where is this craving coming from? as I was enjoying, not during, but as all of this is coming up, and I'm still incorporating those foods that I loved every single day. So my advice to you is going to be the advice that you've never heard before. Have a cookie after dinner. Have a tablespoon of ice cream after dinner every single day. And if you're finding that that's not enough, now we have other things that need to be worked on. But I know it's counterintuitive. We're supposed to stay away, but sequestering yourself into your bedroom every evening when that's happening might not be the best choice.
I know. Now I don't do that anymore, but that is where I was at. So what I decided to do is at 9 o'clock every night, I grab myself a cup of tea and two cookies
Nice.
every night. Okay.
Yeah.
So sooner or later, I'm going to come down to the one cookie. And then some nights I go get the tea and then I don't even want the cookie, you know? So, and then I just started changing how I prepare my food. Instead of eating a lot of fried food, you know, I do more baking, boiling and broiling, you know, my food and stuff, eating more greens and stuff like that, because I do want to control the weight. Okay. So if you had to tell people one thing about not dieting and how, I'm not going to say that dieting is bad, because a lot of people would say that it works for me. Dieting works for me. You know, it doesn't work for me because I know that you gotta stay on it. Okay. So share one thing with us and then we're going to go into porch talk.
Awesome. I appreciate the opportunity. So actually a couple of things come to mind, but let me just say this. Whatever you decide to do, be committed to it. And you were very gracious to share with us, you added things rather than subtracting. And dieting usually means subtracting. Therefore, we feel deprived and we want more of what we're deprived of. It doesn't matter if it's hugs like we experienced this last year or if it's cookies. So commitment to whatever you decide that is, and you decided to add more vegetables, you decided to change the way you prepare foods and to have your 2 cookies. What's interesting, and you said it so nonchalantly, but it's really a huge, huge success. Sometimes I just don't get the cookies because it's not, you gave yourself permission to have them. And once you have permission, it's like, don't need it. So that's what I would recommend, is be committed to whatever decision you make them really tiny, just like you did. You changed a few things, you added a few things. You didn't make it deprivation. You didn't make it hard.
Yeah, I think when we sit around and we ponder on it too long, I think that's where the problem comes in. But I like what you said. I gave myself permission to have that sweet taste at a certain time. And then I just said, okay, you know what? There are days that I want it and days I don't want it, you know. So I'm all good with that. Thank you so much for that. So what I'm going to do is in Porch Talk Live Facebook, I am going to ask you to put all of your contact information in there. And lastly, because Camille is ready with the Porch Talk, tell me what do you got coming up, or what are you working on now?
What I'm working on right now is my one-day event, which will be virtual live, which just makes no sense, but that's, you know, all about that. So virtual live event, June 28th from 9 to 4:30 Eastern time. And it's called Scales of Justice. And the reason why it's called that is because of what I just talked about. You get on the scales in the morning and you're down a few pounds. It's like, hey, let's go get donuts. And then you get on it the next morning and you're up a couple pounds. You're like, oh, okay, let's go get donuts. The scale is very judgmental for people who are chronic dieters like myself. And I'm teaching and showing them how to get through one of the 4 archetypes that everyone has their one of the 4 that's sabotaging their food programs.
Great. Annette, you want to round us up and round us out so that Camille can take charge?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Vickie. I'm so glad you could finally get on an interview with Dorothy so you could share your message with everyone and
Thank you.
people who will catch the replay. Oops, am I muted?
No, you're still talking.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay. So a few things that I learned, hopefully you caught them. If not, not only don't diet. If you have to diet, go on a mental diet. It's about the mindset to your relationship with food. And instead of dieting, it's about portion control. And if you want the cookie, eat the cookie. It'll help control the cravings. Eventually, if you tell yourself, I want a cookie, every time you say, I want a cookie, and you eat a cookie, eventually you won't want to eat the cookie because you're giving yourself permission to eat cookies every single day. So it's about portion control and loving the cookie. And the last thing, stay committed to whatever plan you decide. It's about a lifestyle rather than a diet. The word die is in the word diet. So we want to make this fun. So what else can you share with us, Vickie?
I love that you said that the word die is in the word diet. And here's the reality of what the word diet really truly means. If you look it up in the dictionary, it means lifestyle. So doesn't that kind of soften it down a little bit? So choose a lifestyle. No one way of eating is right for everyone to release weight. It just isn't. There isn't the way, there or a way. There's several ways to do it, and pick what's right for you, and then find someone to help support you in that program. I don't mean like it could be a nutritionist, it could be a coach, it could be a physical trainer. It depends on what you want. What I truly know is a quote from Wayne Dyer that I love. If you truly believe you could eat 5 hot fudge sundaes every day, you can lose weight doing that. So what's what you believe rather than what someone's telling you.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Come on, Camille, what you got for us, girlfriend?
So for me, I am so happy to see you. And I'm going to have to talk to you offline because I need a little help myself. But, when you go on the porch, right, growing up, was there something that you planned on doing when you were a child that you're now doing?
So the question is when I went on the porch, is there something I'm doing now that I used to do as a child? Is that the question? Okay. The funny thing is when I remember as a child sitting on our front porch, I remember drinking a Diet Fago and thinking there's something wrong with me because I have to drink the diet soda and everyone else is drinking the regular one. So what that has done is created a business for me to help women realize that they're not broken. There's nothing wrong with them if they're experiencing a weight problem, and it is something that is fixable with much more ease than they think.
Oh, see, I like that. Now, can I ask one more question, Miss Dorothy?
Absolutely. You
Okay.
got it. Horse talk is you.
Now, when you were growing up as a child, was there something special that your grandmother or your grandfather used to do for you that just thinking about it right now, there you go, bring you that. That's what
Well,
I want to know.
So yes, I had, some my grandparents did do several special things, but what I relate to the most about what I'm doing now is my grandmother and grandfather lived across town, and I lived in a small enough town that I could ride my bicycle there. It was probably 3 to 5 miles. Now, the reason why I went to my grandmother's house, though, is that she had candy dishes of all different kinds of candy on her dining room table. Now, my grandmother was obese, and that's why she passed away so young. So again, it's another one of those things in my childhood that was grooming me. Isn't it interesting that when you look back at your life, you see what's grooming you into doing what I'm doing now? And my love I felt from her and through her was through those candy dishes, unfortunately.
Wow. It happens. I believe just about everyone that we've actually talked to, we found out that the conversations that they had with themselves when they were younger was actually helping to groom them into who they are Actually today, I remember my first guest, Deanna, and Deanna talked about how I may have get it kind of crossed up a little bit, but I think it was her dad that wanted her to be a doctor, and her mom wanted her to be a teacher. And now she's not a licensed doctor or or teacher, certified teacher, but she does have an institute where she does teach on certain things about the physical body. So she's actually doing both of those things,
Mhm.
you know. And me, myself, and I know I was a tomboy. Okay. So I was, yeah, I was a tomboy. And let me tell you, I was a fighter, I was a scrapper, but I was a loner too. I was a loner. I didn't want to be bothered with people, you know. And I was the type that if something was happening with someone else that was out of place, I would always jump in. I would, you know, I'd fight for other people, I'd stand up for other people. But, and I always said that, you know, we're not going to let them treat you like that. They're not going to do that to you. No, we're going to make them stop, you know. And as a midlife and beyond coach, I see some of that now where women have worn so many hats and become so many different people in their lives that they want to take them off now, you know, and instead of people saying, oh, that's a good thing for you to do, they're saying, no, you can't take that hat off. You keep that hat on. No, that's who you are. You'll never be anybody else. No, you know, no, that's not so. So here, Super Kate, here I go. Pew! No,
That's
we're
awesome.
gonna stop all of that. No, we're gonna stop that. They can't talk to you like that. They can't make you do that, you know. So it's the same thing with the diet. Nobody can make you gain weight except for you. You have
Mhm.
to change how you think about food, change. And I tell women, my clients that deal with the weight and what have you, let's deal with managing what you already have. And if we can manage the weight you have now, keep you from putting on any more, then we can deal with the part of you losing. So if you've been from diet to diet, that coaster wheel, and you're up and down, then we're gonna put it, yeah, we're gonna put it at a halt. We're gonna stop that now.
Mhm.
So we're gonna, like you said, Vickie, we're gonna find out, where is this coming from? What's got it growing? What's buried that has you doing
Yeah.
this? And a lot of times, I know that most of the women that were in my family, they were heavy set women. Okay. So I was in the store the other day, and it was another lady in the store, and she was really, really slim and scaly, you know. Uh,
Mhm.
and she looked at me and she said, you know what? People are paying for that. I looked at her. I said, because I've got a big poop,
Mhm.
you know. And she said, people are
A
paying for
poof or a
that
butt?
every day. That too, that too. And I said, yeah, I said, yeah, I know. She said, be thankful for what you got. So that was, you could tell she was a little sickly, you know. So I said, I am thankful for what I have, the weight that I carry. I'm thankful for that. I say, and when I'm ready, just like everything else, okay, the answer will come to start pulling that weight off. And that's what I say. So I'm going to give you some last words and talk about weight loss. And I understand you're a speaker. So when you're called to speak at different conferences and things like that, what are some of the subjects or topics that you're talking about?
Well, I do have one that I actually wrote prior to this whole nonsense happening, and it was called "When Life Throws You Curveballs, Don't Eat Them," and it became very appropriate during the pandemic. So that one is still pretty sought after because people were still trying to figure out how to recover and how to get back to normal, and it's not normal, so now it's still a little uncomfortable. Uh, I do have one based on my book. So The whole idea about being right and how it's not getting you anything. So, and that's based on your belief systems that are misguided, that keep sending you down the path that you don't want. That is what you're trying to prove right over and over again. So I have that speech. And I also have some business ones, beyond sales training. And I think there was another one that I wrote just recently for business and entrepreneurs. So I have a wide range of topics. And if anyone knows of any events or looking for speakers, I'll tell you if I'm not appropriate for your event, but I would love the opportunity to chat with you.
Well, we have an event coming up in July, and it's
Awesome.
called Simple Pleasures of Self-Care. So you are more than welcome. I'll connect with you before that time, so you can come and be a speaker in July.
That'd
But
be awesome.
also, reading your bio, you're a minister as well. So you want to share a little bit about that?
Sure. A lot of people will say, which church do you run? And I don't. I never had that desire. I don't want to be responsible for a congregation. I don't want to be responsible for an actual physical building or a place. What I use my license for is there's a spiritual component in everything that we do, including weight loss. And so if you would say that my congregation are my clients, but I meet them where they're at. I don't meet them where I'm at in their spiritual development. And so that might be none, and that might be exploring, and that might be fully into whatever their name is for that spiritual essence, and respect and honor them for that, knowing that I am being completely guided and directed in what direction for them from my highest source and divine. And it never has gotten me into trouble, and it's helped more and more and more people by being connected in that alignment.
Absolutely. I can understand that too, because I'm real careful as to, I'm a pastor as well, but I'm careful as to how I meet my clients and what I share with them. I have to give them an opportunity to first know whether or not that part of me is something that they want to tap into.
Right.
And if they do, then I make the decision as to how much of the pastor side of me that I give into the training that I do with them. And most of the time, by the time their training is over with, I've already tapped into the pastor side of me for them anyway, because I've got to be a great listener for what it is that they're saying. Okay. And rather than doing a lot of talking, I've got to listen. I've got to be able to find what it is in the beginning when we get started that I need to really help them with. A lot of times, even though people will tell you, oh, well, I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that, this is what I want, I believe your program can help me in this and that. But as they begin to conversate with you, you find out sometimes that that's not really what it is that they need. So I am grateful whenever I connect with someone spiritually. So I'm glad to find out that you're a minister as well, Vickie. That's great news. So dieting. Wow. I'm telling you, hey, look, guys, as Vickie says, do what works for you. Everything doesn't work for everyone. I know that dieting is not a great thing for me because I'm not going to stay on it long. So what I do most of the time is I fast. I can fast for months and months at a time. I can fast, lose what weight I need to lose. And I don't mean just doing liquids all the time. So, but do research before you start doing a diet. Do your due diligence, go online, see if that has worked for other people. What are they saying about it? There's so many different diets out. And I've known people that have spent thousands of dollars to lose weight with weight loss coaches, and it just has not worked. And like you, Vickie, I truly believe that if you can get the mind straight first, then you can work on all the rest of it. So I'm going to give Team Porch Talk a chance to give us some last words before we round it up. What you got for us, Camille?
It was such a pleasure being here with you and just learning. And like I said, we will talk offline because there's a few things I want to pick your brains about. But you're right. Even last night after dinner, I wanted ice cream. This is what I do. I take a spoon, a tablespoon, I take it, wash it off, put it back up, and that's it. I'm done. And I've been doing that now for the past year because I do not want to gain the weight that I've lost. So if you think about it, it's all controlled here. And Vickie's right. Once you figure it out here, then you send the information here and it won't end up in your belly. And I program myself to do that. No, you can't have it. And hey, and sometimes my throat be like, hey, what's going on? There's nothing coming down here. Did somebody cut your throat? I'm like, no. My mind says, be quiet.
Yeah.
We're making some changes here. Okay. And my belly said, okay, I'll wait.
That's awesome.
What you got for us, Annette?
I'm basically going to say the same thing Camille said, yet with a little twist. What you feed your mind is more important than what you feed your belly. Mm-hmm. Because when you're learning something new, no matter what stage in your life it is, it's mostly 80 to 90% mindset, and the rest of it is the skills that you apply. So it's more important about mindset, what you feed your mind, than what you feed your body. You need both. It's all about mindset, 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 right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Vickie, how can people connect with you?
Well, you can connect with me if you really want to learn how to crush cravings. I can teach you how to do that in 30 seconds with a video download. It's absolutely free. So it's at crushcravings.com. You can also email me at Vickie Griffith at break-through.org. I put that in the chat for the Facebook Live. And I would like to, if I may, one more word of advice for everyone to leave everyone with. We have been using the term weight loss a lot, and I use that in marketing because people understand that. However, when you're talking about weight and letting it go, you don't want to lose it. Your mind freaks out. Just when was the last time you lost your cell phone? Oh. That same panic happens when you say weight loss. So changing that word to release, letting go, shredding, getting rid of, however you need to, but let go of the words weight loss. It's not serving you. Your mind, it keeps activating the mind to panic.
Okay, I'm going to change what I say then. Okay. So I'm letting go of some of the weight that I no longer need.
Release, set it free.
Exactly.
Set it free. Well, it's been grand having you here on the show. We look forward to having you come back and talk to us some more. So we are looking forward to seeing everyone. In the comment section, let us know if you were here live, if it's a replay, and even if you have questions about releasing and letting the weight go, just put it in the comments below. And we will make sure that Vickie comments and gives you some answers back. So it's Dorothy, Porch Talk Chicago, Camille.
Hey, fabulous Camille, Orlando, Florida.
Annette.
Hug yourself to love yourself from Cocoa Beach, Florida.
And what about you, Vickie? Porch Talk, where?
If you go to crushcravings.com, you'll get the video download series and how to get in touch with me.
All righty. What state are you calling from?
I am actually in Florida too. Isn't that odd?
Let's talk Florida. So we are so glad that you dropped in, and we'll see you again on next Friday, 12 o'clock noon Central on Porch Talk Live. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.